Once upon a time, in a quiet village surrounded by vast forests and towering snow-capped mountains, there lived a girl named Elara. She was unlike the other villagers. While most people feared the unknown, Elara was driven by curiosity and courage. Where others would stay close to the fire and speak in hushed tones of the dark woods, she would venture into the trees with a lantern in one hand and her journal in the other, eager to discover secrets hidden in nature. The villagers often spoke of a terrifying creature that lived deep in the northern forest. They called it the beast. They described glowing red eyes, the thunder of claws on stone, and strange howls that echoed through the night. Never go near the mountain, they warned, the beast will find you. But Elara had never seen this so-called beast. And she didn't believe in fear built on stories. She believed in truth. One morning, after a fresh snowfall, Elara noticed giant paw prints near the edge of the forest. They were unlike any animal she had ever studied, huge, deep, and leading north. Rather than run from them, she followed them, her heart racing not with fear, but with excitement. The tracks took her deep into the forest, over frozen streams and beneath ancient trees. Hours passed as the path grew steeper and wilder, until she finally reached a great mountain. At its base, hidden behind thick ivy and ice-covered rocks, was a cave. Inside the cave, the air was cold and silent. Elara stepped forward, her lantern casting flickering shadows. Suddenly, she felt a presence. Two glowing eyes appeared in the darkness, and a low voice rumbled from the shadows. "Why have you come here?" the voice asked. Elara stood her ground. "I came to find the truth," she said. "Are you the beast?" Out of the darkness stepped a massive creature. He was covered in thick fur, his horns curved upward like branches, and his claws looked sharp enough to cut stone. Yet his eyes, glowing though they were, held sadness, not menace. "I am called the Beast," he said quietly. "But that name is not mine." The creature introduced himself as Kale. Long ago, he had been a guardian spirit of the forest, charged with protecting the balance between man and nature. But one day, a greedy king sought to cut down the sacred trees in search of gold. Kale had tried to stop the destruction, and in his fury, he had destroyed the king's army. Enraged, the king cursed Kale, twisting his form into something monstrous. He spread lies across the land, turning Kale into a villain of every tale and warning. Since then, Kale had lived in hiding, feared by all. Elara listened, her heart full of compassion. She didn't see a beast, she saw someone wronged, someone who needed a friend. She promised to return, and she did. Day after day, she brought him food, shared stories, read to him from her books, and brought him news from the village. As the seasons changed, so did the forest. Where the land near the cave had once been cold and lifeless, it began to grow green and full of life again. Birds returned to sing in the trees. Flowers bloomed. Animals came and went freely. The villagers, though, grew suspicious. One day, a group of hunters followed Elara into the woods. They watched from the shadows as she greeted Kale and laughed with him. Horrified, they ran back to the village and cried, "She's been taken by the beast." That night, the village was in an uproar. Torches were lit, weapons raised, and a mob formed to march into the woods. Elara heard them coming long before they arrived. She rushed to Kale and begged him to leave, to hide deeper in the mountains. "No," Kale said calmly. "I will not run. I will face them, but not with fear, with truth." As the mob reached the cave, Elara stood in front of Kale, her arms stretched wide. "He's not a monster," she shouted. "He saved me. He protects the forest. He's not who you think he is." Kale stepped forward, hands open, voice calm. "I once guarded this land for you," he said to the villagers. "I still would." There was silence. Then, an old woman stepped forward from the crowd. "My grandson," she said softly. "Last winter, he was lost in the woods. A great creature brought him home. I thought it was a dream. But it was you, wasn't it?" Kale nodded. Others began to speak. A farmer told of how fallen trees had been cleared from his path overnight. A shepherd remembered how his lost sheep had been returned. Slowly, understanding spread through the crowd. The villagers lowered their weapons. From that day on, Kale was no longer feared. The villagers came to accept him as the true guardian of the forest. Elara, brave and full of light, became a bridge between two worlds, the world of men and the world of nature. And so, the story that once began with fear became a legend of courage, friendship, and truth. The tale of the brave girl and the beast, who was never truly a beast at all.